Hi, I'm Margie McGlynn. I'm the co-founder and president of HCU Network America, and I'm here today with Dr. George Spaeth. Dr. Spaeth is a world-renowned ophthalmologist who practiced at Wills Eye Hospital in Philadelphia. He taught at Thomas Jefferson University, and he authored hundreds of papers and book chapters. Welcome, Dr. Spaeth.
Thank you, Margie. It's nice to be here with you.
So I know that you're an expert on glaucoma, but what I want to talk to you about today is your work in identifying one of the very first patients ever reported with classical homocystinuria back in the early 1960s. Can you share with us how that came about?
One of the senior ophthalmologists at Wills admitted a young girl because she was having problems with the lenses in her eyes, and they were going to cause difficulty and they needed to be removed. I was responsible for working her up, getting her ready for surgery the next day.
Because you were a resident.
I was a resident at the Wills Hospital then, and I looked at this little girl. She was 7, and I didn't recall ever seeing anything like that. She looked a little bit like a person who has a condition called Marfan syndrome, which people are tall, kind of bony looking and a little bit, but not quite right. Didn't look like that. Furthermore, she was mentally challenged. She was clearly had difficulty with thoughts and things like that. But you need to know what a person is like biologically when you're going to cut them apart.
Sure.
So I thought, well, we better find out what she has. So I asked the nurses to collect all her urine, and we sent the urine over to the research laboratory and found that it had homocysteine in it.
High levels?
A lot of homocysteine in her urine. And then working with Dr. Barber in the research department, he suggested it might be due to the coenzyme, the cofactor, that makes the enzyme that changes homocysteine to the next step on the metabolism that makes that work. So we gave this little girl vitamin B6. That's the cofactor. Pyridoxine, a safe agent. And indeed, she stopped secreting homocysteine in her urine.
You must have been so pleased to see that result.
Well, it was very, very exciting. Well, I looked through the literature and there's no report of a child, of a person, any person who had that condition. So we thought we should try to study it a little bit more. So I got in touch with some places where children are institutionalized because they're having troubles. And one of them was up in Staten Island called Willowbrook. And my wife and I drove up there. It's kind of a grim place, but we met and talked with people there. And so then they collected urine samples and we analyzed those. And we analyzed them from some other places too, and what we found was that there were quite a few children who were fitting the same sort of pattern that this little girl that came into Wills had. So we'd found a new entity.
So that was very inspiring to hear how you took the initiative to identify more patients. I credit you with the early diagnosis of my sisters in Buffalo, New York, just 2 years after you discovered the first patient. My 6-year-old sister had displaced lenses and severe nearsightedness. So my parents took her just to a local ophthalmologist. And he said to them, I can deal with the ophthalmic issues, but I've recently learned about a rare genetic disease that can often first present with these symptoms. So you need to take your daughter to Children's Hospital in Buffalo to get worked up. And my parents did so, Unfortunately, my sister was diagnosed with classical HCU. They tested the rest of the family. My 2-year-old sister also had classical HCU, no symptoms whatsoever at the time. And I am sure that he learned about that because you presented your findings at ophthalmology meetings and you published your results. So thank you for that. So Dr. Spaeth, I'd like to thank you for being here with us today, but even more importantly, for all of your work that helps support the diagnosis and treatment of hundreds, if not thousands, of classical homocystinuria patients worldwide. Your scientific curiosity and investigative skills led to this discovery, which we have all benefited from. So on behalf of the classical HCU community, I thank you.